who voted to convict Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial.
Current GOP Senator Bill Cassidy lost big tonight in the Louisiana Senate primary. President Trump likely is very happy as he backed one of Cassidy's opponents, kind of two opponents. Actually, we'll get to that in a second, but we'll start this video off in 2021 when Cassidy made this vote shortly after January 6th.
We begin with breaking news from our nation's capital. The U.S. Senate has voted to acquit former President Trump in his second impeachment trial. The verdict, on a vote of 57 to 43, included 7 Republicans joining all 50 Democrats to convict, but it was far from the 2/3 threshold that is required. One of the 7 Republicans to vote guilty was Louisiana's own Senator Bill Cassidy. In a video statement released shortly after the vote, Cassidy was blunt in his reasoning.
Our Constitution and our country is more important than any one person. I voted to convict President Trump because he is guilty.
Cassidy voted earlier in the week to allow the trial to continue during a floor vote on whether it was constitutional to hold a trial for an already removed president. Though Trump was acquitted today, the vote marked the largest number of senators to ever vote to find a president of their own party guilty on an impeachment charge.
Okay, now we will fast forward about 5 years to yesterday, one day before tonight's Louisiana election.
It's a tale as old as time, or at least as old as the Trump era. If you're a Republican who crosses Donald J. Trump, the president makes it a priority to take you out. Senator Bill Cassidy is fighting to be an exception to the rule when Louisianans go to the polls tomorrow, on Saturday, for the state's GOP primary. Now, Cassidy is facing Trump-endorsed Congresswoman Julia Letlow and also State Treasurer John Fleming, who says he is the real MAGA candidate in the race.
Okay, we'll briefly cut in here and read part of this post from Trump. Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana is a disloyal disaster. His entire past campaign for the Senate was about Trump, how he's with me all the way, and then, after winning, he turned around and voted to impeach me for something that has now proven to be total bullshit. He knew that at the time, but didn't care. Bill Cassidy is a sleazebag, a terrible guy who is bad for Louisiana. Now he's going to get clobbered, hopefully, in today's big election by 2 great people. We'll get to that in a second. Vote today for Julia L. She is a winner who will never let you down. Now on John Fleming's Facebook page, you can see he quoted part of that Trump Truth Social. Bill Cassidy is a sleazebag, a terrible guy who is bad for Louisiana. Now he's going to get clobbered, hopefully in today's big election, by 2 great people. Then Fleming says, thanks for the kudos, President Trump. Also in that Trump Truth Social post, though, it says vote today for Julia L. But anyway, we'll get back to that CNN clip.
Cassidy's original sin is that he voted to convict the president in his 2021 impeachment trial after January 6th, which Trump has not forgiven or forgotten, even though Cassidy has spent the last 18 months or so since the president won re-election trying to prove himself as a loyal foot soldier in the MAGA revolution, especially when he cast the pivotal vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. to become the Health and Human Services Secretary. My colleague Pamela Brown just spoke with Senator Cassidy about his 2021 impeachment vote.
Do you regret that at all? I know you're trying to move forward, but I imagine that's on your mind.
First, I'm going to win, just to set that straight. And secondly, you do live life forward, not just some of the time, but all the time. And the people in my state want 2 things. Someone who's delivered and someone who can work with President Trump. I'm not claiming the president loves me. No, but you can work with people even if you don't love each other, if you got a common goal. And my goal is to make my country and my state and everybody who lives here better off.
Okay, I'm not going to spend much time on this, but even though Senator Cassidy did vote to confirm RFK for HHS Secretary, Cassidy has had some interesting moments with RFK in the last year or so.
So my question here, with the new CDC director, whoever she or he is, there are currently political appointees at CDC who have worked to undermine trust in immunizations.
Your characterization of the political appointees is wrong.
Okay, now we'll get to tonight, election night, taking a look at some of the highlights. Enjoy.
And we are coming to you live from Washington, D.C., another one of our Just the Results live stream specials, this one for tonight's Louisiana Senate primary. Now, this is a race, I think you know the basic dynamics, but Bill Cassidy is the incumbent Republican here. He, as a senator in January of 2021, was one of the Republican votes to convict President Trump in his second impeachment trial. 6-year term, so he wasn't up until now in 2026, and he's facing challenges here. Two main challengers in this primary this evening: Julia Letlow, Congresswoman from sort of the Mississippi border region of the state here, north of New Orleans, Baton Rouge. She's running with the endorsement of Donald Trump. And then there's John Fleming. He's the state treasurer and a former congressman. He's aligned himself with President Trump, but doesn't have Trump's endorsement. But he is running as a Trump-friendly candidate here.
Okay, some of the results in here. You can see there, still early in the night, 19% in. Letlow, though, out to quite the lead.
You know, just again, looking at the map right here, the idea that he could catch Fleming is not crazy. Of course, you know, Fleming, again, you see Cassidy's just getting buried in some of these, a lot of these rural areas here. We've yet to hear from up here, you know, this Shreveport area.
Moving forward again in the evening, we can see 58% of the vote in. Letlow clearly in first place, Fleming in second, and Cassidy in third. There's an update here.
You know, Fleming's doing a little bit better. You know, it's helping Fleming more. Okay, the same day vote's a little more Fleming favorable. In other places, Letlow here, but you're seeing Cassidy to varying degrees in all the places
we
we've
just
checked
made
in.
a characterization. In the
There it
race
is.
there.
Okay, yes. So NBC News now has declared that Congresswoman Julia Letlow, endorsed by Donald Trump in this Louisiana Republican Senate primary, will advance to a runoff, meaning we're declaring she will not break 50% tonight.
That's right.
Okay, so that's an important declaration. This now has become a race officially. You've been watching it thinking this, but now it's officially a race for second place tonight. Letlow will not break 50%. She will not win an outright majority.
Another interesting part of the story is Cassidy. I mean, spoiler alert, he couldn't even get second place, as this will now go to a runoff, which we'll see here between Letlow and Fleming. Let's take a look at that. Again, moving ahead, we have 93% of the vote in here.
Lake Charles is, and again, this is somewhere. Yeah.
Take a look at the...
Oh, okay, we may have a moment here, folks. There it is. It's the official NBC News.
He actually timed that perfectly with his hand.
Okay, we may have a moment here, folks. There it is. It's the official NBC News has now declared that the second spot in the June 27th Republican Senate runoff in Louisiana will go to State Treasurer John Fleming. So the runoff now is set. Congresswoman Julia Letlow, State Treasurer John Fleming, and that means that Senator Bill Cassidy, two-term Republican incumbent senator who voted to convict Donald Trump in his second impeachment trial in January of 2021, has been defeated. He will be denied renomination, and he will become the first sitting Republican senator, elected Republican senator since 2012, to lose a primary, to be denied renomination by his party. Again, Letlow.
What a story. Again, there's a lot of great storylines that come with Trump and MAGA. Add this to the list. Overall, very entertaining. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I mean, I guess I'll finish the video here. Please like, please subscribe, and have a great day.